So, roughly 3 or so days ago, I covered the video about Gideon and his whole fiasco with Skeeter Jean's uncle, I believe. And if anyone doesn't know what happened there was his uncle was exploiting his grandmother by being a squatter in her own home. They moved the grandmother out, and mission accomplished. And then they proceeded to start stalking him from a McDonald's to a police station and a McDonald's again. This gotten pretty bad when Gideon started to the best say the least antagonize, but I don't think that's the right word. But yeah, the police inform him that he's no longer allowed in, and so he gets two kids involved to try get them to film Joe, who was in the McDonald's restaurant himself. This leads to the police arresting them two along with Gideon for just trespassing and another charge. I forgot what it was. The whole body cam was a whole fiasco, and now the two boys and Gideon are now set to see court in July 13th. I don't think we'll be able to see any of it, and I don't think we'll be able to see Gideon on public YouTube ever again, is because he dropped an apology video with the title "I Quit." And I'm not going to show the whole thing because he just says genuinely a lot, but I want to believe he is being a bit authentic with it until he says one particular line.
Now I had to pay six plus figures for my lawyer fees and then my fans' lawyer fees and everything. And that money could have been used for the betterment of society, but now it's being used in the legal system. You know what I mean? And it's just completely unnecessary and it's completely my fault. And while I still don't think I committed a crime, I still do think that, genuinely, I was just being not only just an ass.
And that's where I want to say he is being accountable. He's admitted that he's been an ass and annoying, but when he says it wasn't a crime, you did your job. You got him out of the house. That should have been done with it. And you and Skeeter Jean both decided to go one step further and stalk him. Like I said, stalking is a very heavy thing, and apparently that's a misdemeanor. I mean, what the fuck? You can't be this brain dead. And he's trying to, like, I don't want to say it like this because I want to be wrong. This is the one point where I want to admit I'm being a bit over dramatic, but I feel like he's saying streaming makes me a bad person as un an unbiased defense because I haven't seen any of his streams. Anyone who has to give me a verification on that. But I really am highly convinced he just says that to save his ass. Other than that, it's just a whole on smooth brain move to say, "Oh, you can't. I just streaming. You can't. I'm just unreasonable when I'm streaming." I hate it. I genuinely hate it. That's why Jack Doherty got slapped like a few days ago. But then again, him and his I can't say that. But him and his guard and everyone, they're just a bunch of pimps. That's about it. But I still don't think this is the worst apology video out there. Like, fucking Colleen Ballinger and Sienna May still give them to the run for each other's money. And continuing on from that, like, I'll show the video in a second. But he says that throughout the whole stream, he says that you can't look. Because I am paraphrasing a bit here, but he's talking about that majority of times he was in controversies or beefs, it had to do with streaming. One I can probably defend him on is Logan Paul because him and Jake Paul they can die in a ditch. They'll die in a ditch and no one will remember them. And if they do, it's not for anything except for them walking into a forest and making fun of a dead body hanging on a tree. Exact context, by the way. But for him to say that you can't be looking at chat for hours on end and just to give opinion on people is a bit loose-lipped. Because you can give opinion on people. Like, I'll give my opinion on people every time I say it. Like, Skeeter Jean and this, with the whole stalking situation, was a stupid move. Jake Paul's a moron. Pokemon's a cheapskate. Jack Doherty's a. Oh, you see, that I have to filter myself sometimes. I'm sorry, but I'll just show you the clip. It's.
I committed a crime. I still do think that, genuinely, I was just being not only just an ass, but annoying. And I've come to realize that, genuinely, streaming makes me the worst me. Thinking back on controversy and everything that I've ever got into, anytime I trended on Twitter for something negative, it's always been for some streaming clip. Like the first one that comes to mind is the Pokimane situation. Then the second one that comes to mind is, the Logan Paul thing. And then besides all that, like, bro, I've been in countless beefs, and a majority, I would say probably like 85% of those beefs have come from streaming. And I think what it is genuinely is, I don't think it's a good thing to just look at a chat for hours on end and you're just like in real time getting opinions of people. And then, I know probably some of my other streamers can attest to this. You see somebody in the chat.
You see what I mean? Like, that's what he's talking about. And this is only 2 minutes in, by the way. This is a whole 16-minute clip. But there's something I need to point out. You probably saw it in the 2 snippets I showed. I'm highly convinced he is reading off a script. He has wrote one up and just literally, because he's seen constantly looking at the screen, or he's doing what I usually do sometimes with this, and looking at the timer between Audacity or OBS. But I feel like that majority of the time, I feel like he's using a script. But again, this is 2 minutes in, 2 minutes out of 16. I'm probably not going to drag this out because I really don't enjoy watching apology videos because they're really... Personally, they anger me more than brainless vegans who think forcing people opinions down your throat is going to give them a reason to go on your side. And there's another part where I need to infiltrate my thought here. I'm not gonna show a lot more on this because this is a 16 whole minutes, and I feel like this is him just regurgitating and defending himself that he shouldn't be streaming. But when he tried to point out that people like Jinxie and Queso don't get into a lot of beef because he talked about how one time he went to the most racist town or some shit. It was all noise at this point. I was kind of drowning in and out, but I was trying to focus. He talks about them two don't get into a lot of beef and controversies is because they're not idiots. They're not doing anything fucking stupid IRL or streaming at home just for kicks. They're doing it because they want to at the same time. It's also a lifestyle. But when he tries to defend himself by putting himself in that and say them two don't get anywhere stupid, is because they don't have anywhere stupid to do things. They don't really go out trying to be a public menace. They don't really try to go out and cause harm. At least they don't, or for like fucking... I forgot the dickhead's name anyway, but when they tried to falsely accuse someone of being a pedophile, and now they're facing legal action for it, which I still... Vitaly, that's his name. That was his name, thank you. But I still need to figure out what's happening there. I don't know if there's an update to that. And this is just... You can't... Like, it's just him trying to defend himself from stalking someone. And for what... Like, because Critical recently, he covered the body cam video, and for what I learned is that the squatter part people can defend him on is because they're so legally they're defended again. They're defended by the legal system that there's nothing they can do. Because there was one YouTuber who was doing this other thing, and it was apparently illegal to change locks on squatters while they're out, which I find totally fucking ridiculous because that's not their home. They're squatters. There's a reason they're called squatters, and hammer home the point, like I said before. It's not their home to live in. So I can understand why people will defend, like, him trying to get the squatter out. But I don't condone... I really don't understand why they would not defend themselves against just stalking someone. Because that's nothing... That's a no-go in general. I'm assuming... Like, Gideon had to deal with stalking once or twice, so I know how fucking horrifying it is. So, why?
So, like, I'm not on here, apologizing or anything because I don't owe you guys an apology. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't affect any of y'all. But I do want to say that I see where I was wrong 1,000%. And to the people I do owe an apology to, I've given them to them,
I want to say, like, that part kind of annoyed me a bit. I would say he kind of does apologize for him for trying to condone stalking and harassing people. And he is facing a legal, like I said before in the beginning of the video, he is facing a legal case, and it is due to happen on the 13th of July. I don't know why I said 23rd. Him and the two other boys, I believe, are facing court cases with that on the exact same date. And I think that's all I have to say is because we're barely halfway through the video. I can't take it anymore personally, and I don't want to fucking abolish your guys' eardrums on this because to quote him, he is genuinely annoying to hear. Then again, I don't like listening to myself, so I think that's just a me thing. So that's all I got, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Comment down below what you want me to cover next, because apparently I really need that to happen. So, see ya. Bye bye.